then why is it
You
that
want-
so many in your party seem to be anti-trans? They're anti-drag queen reading. They don't want gay people to get married. Why? Listen, I'm asking you this because you're a Republican. You're in the Republican Party. They don't want gay people to be married. They attack transgenders on a regular basis.
Sir.
They attack drag queen reading.
Sir.
I want to get your thoughts on that.
You see, no offense, you just twisted the whole conversation.
No, I didn't. Not at all. Not at all.
I'm talking about health care.
Okay, let's talk about
healthcare.
Let's talk about healthcare. Does it bother you that you're a Republican and you're voting for Donald Trump, and yet he said he has concepts of a plan, and he's had 9 years to replace Obamacare, and I've heard a lot of Republicans bitch and complain about Obamacare. Did it bother you on a debate stage, all transgender talk aside, that the man that you are going to support has no idea what a replacement plan would look like, and he hasn't even sat down with advisors for 2 hours in 9 years to talk about a plan? Does that bother you more than transgender surgery, that the man that you are going to support has concepts of a plan and he's had 9 years? Does that bother you, sir?
Sir,
it does bother you.
It just got very upset. This is
answer the question.
There's a lot of generalities.
No, there's no generalities. Let's start again, and I'll say it. No, hold on. I'm going to say it very calmly. Hold on. Well, you're not answering.
I'm giving you an answer.
Please do.
I'm giving you an answer.
Please do.
My answer is, whether it be Obamacare or any kind of care that has been tried to be done in this country.
Hasn't been tried. It's been implemented.
Okay.
You said
I just said any that has been tried. I just said Obamacare or any that has been tried. Did I not say that?
Okay. Go ahead. Continue.
Okay. Is a vastly huge task to undertake.
It's a huge task to undertake. Why was Obama able to do it then? Was he able to do the task? You didn't vote for Barack Obama. He helped implement Obamacare. Why is it that Donald Trump has had 9 years to think about it and he doesn't even have a plan? I agree with you. It's not an easy thing. I agree. We're in agreement. I'm not saying it's easy. All I'm saying is throughout Donald Trump's presidency, he said, well, that'll be there in a month. It'll be there in 2 months. It'll be there in 2 weeks. He said it over and over again. And then on a debate stage a few weeks ago, he said he had concepts of a plan. How can you replace something that is not easy to do? We agree on that. When you don't even have a plan, doesn't that bother you? That was my question, and I haven't received an answer yet.
Well, we went from healthcare for all, and you didn't answer that, to this.
Whoa. What do you mean I didn't answer? I've answered every one of your questions directly.
My answer is this. If Trump gets elected, I'm sure he's going to attempt to change Obamacare.
Let me ask you about that. You just said hold on. I'm going by your quote. If he's elected, you have no doubt that he will replace Obamacare. Why didn't he do it when he'll attempt to? He'll attempt to was the word you used, right?
Exactly.
Why didn't he attempt to do it when he was president for 4 years? Why didn't he make that attempt?
Well, why?
Yeah.
Because right now that is what the law of the land.
It's going to be the law. It's going to be the law of the land if he wins again. You're not making any sense. He had 4 years to attempt to do it. He didn't even make an attempt. So what evidence do you have to form the conclusion that he's going to make an attempt if he becomes president again? Sir, go ahead.
He may not change Obamacare.
Okay, well,
I don't understand. I don't understand where we went from that.
Here's where we went. Here's where we went. I'll explain it to you, and I want you to stay on the line. You started this conversation, so I'm keeping you on. I want to have it. And your first criticism, you mentioned healthcare, and you talked about transgenders. Now, I'm going to be very clear with you. I don't believe that we should have to pay for transgender surgery. That's my personal opinion, but that is not my number one priority, and that is not the number one priority of most Americans. That's yours. That's fine. My point is, hold on. You mentioned healthcare, and my point is you're voting for Donald Trump. You're talking about Obamacare, and you said, I have no doubt that he'll make an attempt, is the word you used, to replace Obamacare. My point is he didn't make any attempts when he was president for 4 years. And then when asked on a debate stage about it, he said he had concepts of a plan. Why on earth would you have any confidence in this man making an attempt, as you put it, to replace Obamacare? And you haven't given me any reasoning why you feel that way. Go ahead, sir.
Because he's president. I don't expect
He was
him to
president for
sit
4
down.
years.
Sir, if you're not going to let me finish,
Go ahead.
you
Go
wanna
ahead.
say-
Go
okay.
ahead.
I'm going to assume that he's going to have capable cabinet members that will look into it.
Did he not?
Now, I'm not
Okay,
saying
hold on.
I'm not saying.
Hold on. I have to interject. Did he not have competent cabinet members when he was president in 2016 to 2020?
Sir, were his last year and a half of the presidency consumed by COVID?
That wasn't my question. Did he not have
No.
That wasn't
So-
my
so
question.
he-
I'm asking you to answer my question.
Your question is he had 4 years, and my answer is
that
no,
wasn't my
he had-
question. That wasn't my question.
Okay.
I need you to listen. You said you believe he's going to replace Obamacare or make an attempt.
I
because
never
you
said that.
Listen to me.
No.
Or he'll make an attempt.
I said he would.
Make an attempt. Listen, you said he would make an attempt. And then I said, what is your evidence to believe that? And you said, well, I believe he'll have competent cabinet members. My question was, did he not have competent cabinet members when he was already president? That was my question.
Yes.
Okay, so why didn't it happen then? So why didn't it happen then?
Maybe he didn't have the votes to change it. There's a million reasons.
Not true. Not true. He didn't even put forth a plan for votes, okay? He didn't even put forth a proposal. In order for there to be a vote, there has to be a plan, not concepts of a plan. Let's move on now. I think we'll agree to disagree on that one. Name me something else. By the way, let me ask you a question now. Does it bother you at all? Forget about the criminality. We'll probably disagree on the criminality of Donald Trump, even though he's a 34-count felon. Does the behavior bother you at all that he lies about the 2020 election, that he's a liable sexual abuser? Does it bother you at all that he doesn't admit that he lost the 2020 election? Does it bother you at all that there are 25 women that have come forward that have accused him of sexual assault? Wait, let me finish, please. Does it bother you at all that he has attacked POWs like John McCain and he said he didn't respect him because he was captured? Does any of that behavior bother you at all?
What we opened this conversation by me saying that I don't like Trump, but I'm voting Republican.
Okay, so what does that mean?
Stop. Why did you just go?
Don't tell me to stop. I'm asking you a question. Okay, I'm going to ask it again. I'm going to ask it again a different way, so hopefully you will answer the question directly. I understand you said you don't like Trump. Okay, fine. So I'm going to assume that you don't like some of that behavior. Is it fair to say with you, sir, as a voter, that you put moral compass aside and all you care about policy? For example, the first thing you mentioned was you don't think we should have to pay for transgenders, and that's a big priority for you. But is it fair to say that you just put here's the question. You put moral compass aside, and I don't know, healthcare with transgenders is more important than a man who's a liable sexual abuser. Is that a fair characterization?
Okay, you asked me to start, and I started with healthcare. There's a million other reasons, but you haven't even let me go past.
You didn't even start. Okay, well, I'll give you the opportunity, but you didn't really start.
Let me answer the question.
Okay.
You asked me a question.
Okay, but hold on.
Answer.
Okay, but we didn't start with healthcare. Hold on a second.
Let me answer.
I'm going to let you answer, but you just mischaracterized, okay, our conversation. You started with transgender surgery. You didn't talk about lowering the cost of insulin, which is something that Joe Biden did. You didn't talk about lowering the cost of prescription drugs. The first thing you mentioned under healthcare was transgender surgery, which is a right-wing talking point when it comes to transgenders. I'm going to let you continue, sir, but please don't make it like you talked about everything involving healthcare, because you didn't. You talked about transgenders, but go ahead.
That's the first thing. Anything that weighs on the public money has to do with healthcare. And by the way, I'm a diabetic. My insulin is not $35 a month.
Because they capped it for people that are older than us. That's why. It's a great start. And Kamala Harris has said on the record that she wants to do it if she becomes president for all Americans. But Joe Biden got the ball rolling. How could you not give them credit for that, man?
I didn't say I'm not giving him credit for it. But I know as an individual, my insulin is not $35 a month.
Because the bill that they passed was for people that are over.
You know what? Every Democrat in the world takes credit for that bill. Not every Democrat
hold on, pot him down now because you're saying nonsense. Every Democrat in the world, by the way, this didn't happen in the world. It happened in the United States of America. And the Democrat or Democrats that should take credit for it is Joe Biden and his administration. Why is that so hard for you to comprehend and admit? Every Democrat isn't responsible or taking credit. In fact, Donald Trump, the man who you're going to be voting for, has lied, and he said he was the reason why insulin was capped at 35 for senior citizens. Why is, if you care about people that take credit, then why don't you criticize Donald Trump for taking credit for something that Joe Biden is the one who overwhelmingly implemented this policy? Are you going to criticize Donald Trump for taking credit for capping insulin at $35, since we're on that topic?
You just said that Joe Biden should take credit for it.
I hate his administration.
So Nancy Rosen shouldn't take credit for it. Susie Lee shouldn't take credit for it. Every Democrat in the House and Senate that's running for re-election shouldn't take.
Okay, I'll answer your question. You said Democrats around the world, which was an ignorant statement. That's number one. Number two, I give credit to a lot of Democrats. Why do you keep saying "sir" and interrupting me? I'm answering your question.
Because you need to keep the conversation.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I haven't called you any names, and I'm not going to be told. And I'm not going to be told how to have this conversation. I'm going to have the conversation. If you don't like it, you can hang up the phone. I'm sorry, I'm destroying you. Can you please answer my question? Does his behavior bother you? Does it bother you that he's a 30? Does it bother you? Does it bother you? What?
You have not made one point.
I haven't made. Okay, pot him down. I'll make some points. You want me to make points? Here you go. I'm going to make some points. Donald Trump is the reason why January 6th happened. He's continued to lie about the election. Donald Trump is a 34-count felon. We shouldn't have a convicted felon as the president of the United States and the leader of the free world. Donald Trump is the man who has 25 women who have accused him of sexual assault or rape. I don't want somebody like that in office. Donald Trump is the guy that spent $8.2 trillion. He got us $8.2 trillion in debt while he sells $100,000 watches. Donald Trump is the guy who sides with evil, murderous dictators. Donald Trump is the guy who wrote letters, love letters to Kim Jong-un. Donald Trump is the guy who stood up 2 feet away from Vladimir Putin, 2 feet away from Vladimir Putin, and sided with him over our own CIA and FBI. Donald Trump is the guy who said in regards to COVID, 15 cases down to 0. It's going to be gone by Easter. And he took his COVID press conferences and he turned them into campaign rallies. Donald Trump is the guy, if he loses in November, he's not going to concede. Donald Trump is the guy who attacks women on looks. He attacks POWs, suckers and losers. I don't respect him because he was captured. Donald Trump is the guy, his own vice president won't be voting for him. There are 40 members of his cabinet, including 5-star generals, that won't be supporting Donald Trump. Did I make enough points for you, sir? Or would you like me to make a few more points for you?
Sir.
Did I make enough points? Or would you like me to make a few more?
What substantial policy point did you make in that rant?
Sure. You want to hear some policy points? He got us $8.2 trillion in debt. Donald Trump is the reason why when we left office, we were in the tank. We were locked up in our rooms during COVID. And if you don't want to put any blame on Trump for COVID, what about his response? Per capita, if you want to talk about policy, we are one of the richest countries in the world. Per capita, we were like number 2 or number 3 when it came to deaths per capita in this country. He left our economy in shambles when Joe Biden took it over. What do you make of that, sir? Do you not put any of that on Donald Trump at all?
Let me ask you a question. You live in Las Vegas, correct?
You're not going to respond to what I just said. You're going to ask a question.
Here's my response.
Okay.
Do you live in Las Vegas?
That's a great response. Yes, I do live in Las Vegas. You are right about something in this phone call. I appreciate that.
Did Sisolak close the strip and make the Vegas economy tank?
Did Sisolak? Wow, what a dumb thing to say, but I'll still answer your question. First of all, there are Republican governors all over the country that also closed down their state. The reason why they did that is because they were listening to healthcare professionals, and Donald Trump, the Cheeto Jesus orange turd rapist that you support, left it up to the states to decide. Steve Sisolak saved lives. We lost millions of people in this country, and I'm also going to assume that you consider yourself an infectious disease expert, right? Even though you probably have zero medical experience, but yet you want to criticize a Republican Democrat in this state Democrat Republican in this state when there are also Republicans in other states that also shut down their state as well when Donald Trump was president of the United States. You're probably also one of those people that hates Dr. Fauci, even though Donald Trump is the guy that hired him. If you want to talk about policy, were you okay with Donald Trump leaving it up to the states to decide? Because that's policy, sir.
Am I allowed to finish my thought or no?
Okay, stop it with your stupid condescending statements. Answer the question.
When Steve Sisolak left office, Las Vegas was in a deep, deep recession.
The entire country was in a deep, deep recession. Next, checkmate. Next, the entire country was in a recession. Nobody was working. We were locked up, and almost every state was locked up, including Republican governors. What is wrong with you? Do you not understand that? The entire country was shut down. It wasn't just Steve Sisolak. And by the way, we live in a very unique state.
But you keep on blaming Trump.
Trump is the one that left it up to the states. Do you not understand that?
Oh, okay. And the state of Nevada with a Democratic governor.
And Republican governors also shut down the states. What is wrong with you? The entire country was shut down. Will you give me something else? Because this is just a ridiculous conversation.
You keep on blaming Trump.
Trump left it up to the states. What part of that do you not understand?
And some of the people heading the states made mistakes.
Can you name me one Republican governor in any state in this country that did not at one point during COVID shut down their state? Can you name, it's not Ron DeSantis. He shut it down for maybe shorter than Sisolak, but he shut it down. Can you name me one Republican governor that didn't shut down anything during COVID?
But you're blaming the recession.
I'm going to ask you again to answer my question. Can you name me one? Okay, they all did. Okay, checkmate. Next question, please. Let's move on. Can you please...
checkmate.
Yes, checkmate. You know what that means? Do you play chess? You don't sound like you're much of a chess player. What did Donald Trump... Can you name me some policies that really were great under Donald Trump that really said, wow, thank God he did that? I mean, I could name a few. There's a few things he did that I like. But can you name me some policies? Because I'll name you a ton of Joe Biden policies. What did Donald Trump do policy-wise that you really liked?
Well, the first thing is he gave the Border Patrol permission to actually do their jobs.
Okay, what bill was that? Can you name me the policy where you say, in a very general sense, he allowed Border Patrol?
It wasn't a bill.
So I'm going to ask. Okay, I'm going to ask you. Okay, not limiting something is not a policy. I'm going to ask you again. What policies? I'm going to ask you to name me a policy.
Border Patrol.
We're not talking about Biden right now. You're a Trump supporter. Name me some policies you like under Donald Trump. Don't oh my God me, sir. What policies do you like under Donald Trump? Answer the question.
I'm kind of waiting to see when he comes back in. See what's going on.
So you can't name me one policy that you liked under Donald Trump in 4 years, and your only response to my question before you Google it. Before you Google it, before you Google it on your Obama phone, can you name me one policy you liked under Donald Trump? Just one.
On my Obama phone?
Yeah, it was a joke, sir. It's called levity. Can you name me one policy, sir?
You're calling me ignorant and attacking me, and then you're
because you can't name one policy. If I tell you I like this politician, after pot him down again, can you if I like one politician, say Joe Biden. Hey, Brian, what did you like about Joe Biden's presidency? I like the CHIPS and Science Act. I like the fact that he capped insulin at $35. I like student debt relief. I like the fact that he gave health care to our brave men and women, the bill that he put forward with Jon Stewart. I like that a lot. I also like the fact that we have record highs with the NASDAQ. I love the fact that compared to other G7 countries, we're number one when it comes to inflation. I really like that a lot. I love the fact that he's done those things. And I could name you plenty more, but I just named you 5 policies. You can't name me one. And when I ask you, the reason why I called you ignorant, because I believe you are, sorry, Snowflake, I believe you are. When I ask you, name me one policy you like under Donald Trump, because you're going to be voting for Donald Trump, the only thing you say to me is, quote, well, he let the people do their job at the border. That's not a policy. Now that you've maybe had a chance to Google something, can you name me a few policies you like under Trump? I'll give you another chance, sir. I'm all for second chances. You seem like a really nice guy.
You know what I like? I like people that aren't scared shitless.
I like people that aren't scared. That's your policy answer. Sir, I gave you a second opportunity. You are an absolute dope. Okay. You have no idea what you're talking about. Your number one priority, or the number one thing that you brought up on this show, was transgender surgery. I ask you if you can name one policy that you like under Donald Trump in 4 years, just one. And the only thing you said was he let people at the border do their job. I don't even know what that means. And then you said, I'm scared blankless. Not to be scared blankless, crapless, or whatever you just said. Sir, that's why I call you an idiot, because you can't name me one policy like so many other bird for brain MAGA supporters. Are you college educated, sir? Sir?
Yes, I'm college educated.
What's your education? Like, did you take political science? Because you sound very politically savvy when you vote for somebody and you can't name one policy in 4 years. That's very politically savvy, sir. What would you say if you said, Brian, why did you vote for Joe Biden? Can you name me some policies? And I said, well, the policy of not being scared blankless. What would you call me if I said that?
Well, here's one thing I do.
See, we got another MAGA supporter that's developing a stutter. I'm sorry, sir. Go right ahead.
Wow.
Have a nice day, sir. I've had enough of you. Have a nice day. I love it. Winner, we have another MAGA supporter that's developed a stutter. We have another MAGA supporter that's developed a stutter. I'm not mocking people for having a stutter. I'm mocking this guy for developing a stutter in the middle of the phone call. What did we learn from this caller? Well, we learned a couple things. Number one, we learned his number one priority and his biggest criticism: I don't want to pay for people to have transgender surgery. I'm sure that's number one on everybody's mind that are reasonable people. I don't want to pay for transgender surgery. What else did we learn? Another MAGA clown, and an inbred MAGA clown that can't name one policy. Can't name one. Another brilliant caller.
First of all, I am a Trump supporter. And so I just want to hear the opposition. I always want to be fair and know that, your opposition does have, your ability. You can post and put your opinions out there.
Sure.
But what makes you think, just out of curiosity, what happened January 6th compared to all the BLM protests makes more of us violent than those white liberals that are out there that were burning, looting, murdering a city.
So first of all, I never said that. So I don't know where you're getting that from. I never compared the two. You're the one that's doing that, not me. When I talk about one entity,
I heard you saying that we were pretty violent. I've heard you multiple times.
So when you say we were pretty violent, would you say that on January 6th, those people that were arrested were pretty violent, or would you disagree with that?
No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't. So let me ask you a question. The 140 officers that were beaten that day, some of them were. Hold on. Let me. Excuse me, Romeo.
Where did you get that from?
Okay, Romeo. First of all,
I'm asking you a question. Where did you get that
from? And I'm going to answer it if you'll stop interrupting me, okay? Because that's very rude. I'm trying to be civil with you, and you keep interrupting me. And you ask me one question, you interrupt me. Let's go back to square one to start. First of all, where am I getting that from? There were 140 officers that went to the hospital. It's all documented. It was in court documents. There's videos of MAGA supporters that are beating officers with their own baton. There's videos of them getting sprayed with bear spray. There's videos of it. It's not my fault you haven't seen it and you're ill-informed, with all due respect. There were people that died that day. There was a woman that was trampled and died that day. Ashley Babbitt died that day. There was an officer named Brian Sitnick who died the next day. There were officers who committed suicide months after. Their families said they were never the same since that day. So don't you call into this show and tell me that those people weren't violent. That's like saying that the earth is flat, okay? That's number one. Number two, you people seem to compare Black Lives Matter protests to what happened on January 6th. I never condoned any violence, but you say white liberals. Let me tell you something. Some of those people that committed violent acts, some of them were right-wing agitators. How do we know that? Because we know that because it was in a courtroom. I don't condone violence in any way, shape, or form. And let me tell you that the big smart distinction, in my opinion, between Black Lives Matter and January 6th. You had hundreds of thousands of people on January 6th, probably 1,000 to 2,000 people that committed crimes. Why were they there that day? Because I would assume, like people like you, They believed the big lie that the 2020 election was stolen, and they tried to do anything and everything they could to overturn a free and fair election. Why were tens of millions of people protesting across the country for Black Lives Matter protests? For equality. Hold on, I'm not done yet. It's my show, not yours. You're not going to interrupt me again. I know you don't like facts, Romeo. I know you don't like facts. Tens of millions of people protested across the country for equality. There was a small percentage of people that did some very violent things, which I would never condone. But to compare the two, Black Lives Matter protest for people that wanted equality to hundreds of thousands of morons that were there because they think the election was stolen, there is no comparison, Romeo. Now I'll give you the opportunity.
Just
go ahead.
Because you're insecure little nip.
Okay, you see? Another typical MAGA supporter that when I present them with facts, he calls me insecure, and that's all he's got. Well, let's be clear. Hey, MAGA buffoon, the guy who you're supporting, keep Romeo, I'm sure that's your real name right now, keep Romeo potted down for a moment, because I've just won the argument, because now he's gone to ad hominem insults. So, Romeo, the man who you support, wakes up in the morning, if you want to talk about insecurities, puts on 8 layers of orange makeup. The man who you support wears shoulder pads. The man who you support has never been seen in public with his shirt off. The man who you support has 4 hair transplants. The man who you support might be the most insecure human being on the planet. You say one negative thing about this guy, he goes crazy. So I want you to remember that before you take off your knee pads and before you go to sleep tonight. I want you to remember that you support the man who literally looks like a clown every day. There's nobody more insecure than him, okay? Now, you might be one of those insurrectionists. I don't know, sir, but I wish you luck. I hope you buy one of your Trump Bibles. Go ahead. Sir, have you bought a Trump Bible?
I'm not throwing Trump Bible. What the hell is a Trump Bible?
Okay, Mr. Trump Bible, have a nice day. I'm sick of you. Once you start with the ad hominem attacks, that's it. I'm done with you. I win, you lose. Checkmate. Have a nice day.
As far as Dick Cheney goes, man, I couldn't be happier that he's no longer associated with and has nothing to do with the Republican Party. The guy was a fascist. He was one of the worst people in American history. He did take us to Iraq and WMDs, which we all know is a farce.
Did you vote?
Halliburton,
did you vote?
Which he benefited
did
from
you vote? Who
greatly.
did you vote for that ticket?
Unfortunately, and I regret every bit of it, man.
Okay, so we can
standing up for George Bush, defending George Bush.
Okay, so you did, and I guarantee you, in 10 years, you'll be saying the exact same thing about Donald Trump, the guy you support. But with that being said, I understand that's how you feel about Dick Cheney, and you're entitled to your opinion. But he still is endorsing Kamala Harris, and don't make no mistake about it. While it might not make a difference to people like you, staunch Donald Trump supporters, it will still make a difference, Patrick.
But doesn't it show that she is the uniparty? She is the establishment. She is the warmongering machine that has taken over much of our government, and that's why people love that.
But here's the
now
thing,
being seen for
Patrick,
all the world to see that. Hey,
okay, but
Dick
Patrick,
Cheney is now on y'all's side.
Patrick, here's my issue with what you're saying.
The guys,
Patrick,
nobody likes Dick Cheney. Nobody likes Liz Cheney.
Okay, Patrick, here's my issue with what. Patrick, here's my issue.
Huge.
Patrick, here's my issue with what you're saying. I guarantee you, a year ago, you would not have said this about Dick Cheney. You would not have been saying this about.
I've been saying it.
No, you haven't. Patrick,
I've been saying it for many years.
Pot him down for a moment.
Are you kidding me?
Pot him down. Patrick, you have been calling into my show for years. The only time you've ever brought up Liz Cheney or Dick Cheney and said anything negative about either of them was after Liz Cheney came out and voted to impeach Donald Trump, and she was part of the January 6th commission. Before then, you never called into the show saying one negative thing about Liz Cheney or Dick Cheney. So you can claim that you don't like the Cheneys. That's fine. I'm pointing out for the record, you have never, ever said anything negative. And make no mistake about it, the only reason why Liz Cheney lost her run for office again was because she did the right thing. So we can move on now, but I just want to make that clear to all the listeners. You're speaking negatively about Liz Cheney because she's supporting Kamala Harris. If she kept her mouth shut and she voted along party lines, you wouldn't be criticizing her at all, and she would still be in power. Patrick, I want to be very clear on that.
Hey, I'm very excited that the Republicans the American people have taken back the Republican Party, and we're getting rid of the Mitt Romneys, the Adam Kissingers, the Cheneys, the Bushes. All of those people
And you
are
can
no
keep.
longer a part of this
Okay, so I
Republican
agree.
Party.
You
Why
can
don't
take
y'all
them.
take back y'all's party?
You can take them,
Why
and
don't
you've
you take
taken
back
the
the
Lauren,
Democrat
you've
Party?
taken the Marjorie Taylor Greens and the Lauren Boberts and the Jim Jordans. Wow, you got a group of, and the Matt Gateses. You got a group of wonderful
Matt Gaetz,
people.
yeah.
Very. You like Matt Gates, sure. Shocker.
RFK Jr.
Oh, there's a really credible guy. Yeah, you got a bunch of.
Democrat family that's come over to the Republican Party, and
Yeah,
he's
very
taken on
credible.
Monsanto. He's done big environmental cleanup. RFK has a great track record. How do you
Really?
feel about Monsanto?
Why don't we ask?
Monsanto?
Hold on, let's talk about Robert F. Kennedy Jr. for a second. You just said he has a great track record. I'm just wondering what you're referring to, because the guy couldn't get 5% of the vote. This is a man who's cheated on every woman he's ever had, including his ex-wife, who committed suicide after reading about all the women that he had been with. You want to ask his wife and people in his family, some of the people in his family, about his track record of being a human being, a guy that beheads whales, a guy that stages murders with bears, a guy that spreads medical misinformation on a daily basis, and you want to talk about this guy's record? You care about somebody's record, right, Patrick? Would you care about the guy that you're supporting, who's a 34-count felon who has a criminal record, a guy that's had 25 women? No, these are not talking points. You call it talking points because you can't defend it. You just said you care about somebody's record. What about somebody's police record? I'm just curious. Patrick, do you care about that?
I say the same thing every day, man.
And you defend it every single day because it's important to make it clear. You said you care about somebody's record. That matters to MAGA Patrick. And my question to you is, when you say record, does that include somebody's police record, or does that not matter to you?
Environmental cleanups.
Patrick, does somebody's Patrick,
track.
I'm not going to talk about RFK Jr. anymore because it's irrelevant. I'm moving on now. You said you care about somebody's record. Do you care about somebody's police record? Yes or no?
Tell me about Dick Cheney's record, huh?
We're not talking
How
about
about
Dick
him?
Cheney because he's not running for office. We are now I mentioned Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney, and you did, because they're endorsing Harris. Dick Cheney's not running for office. The man who you support, Donald J. Trump, is the leader of the Republican Party. You said you care about record. Yeah. My question to you is, do you care about somebody's police record?
I don't care. I am voting for the outlaw. I am happy to vote for the felon,
Okay,
a 34-count felon.
So Patrick, you only care about somebody's record if it benefits you. For example, if somebody comes forward and supports somebody you don't like, then all of a sudden you care about their record. But if somebody has a police record, in this case, a 34-count felon, doesn't matter to you. At least you're very consistent, Patrick, on your bias. I appreciate that.
Because it's called political prosecution. Nobody cares.
Right. So if it's a Republican, it's political prosecution, right? So Hunter Biden, was that political prosecution? Or when they investigated Hillary Clinton 8 times during Benghazi, the Republicans investigated her 8 times. I'm curious. Hold on, Patrick. I'm asking you a question, because when it comes to Donald Trump, it's all political prosecution. The 34-count felon, the liable sexual abuser, all the other indictments and all the other cases that he's going to have to go through. That's all political prosecution, right? The DOJ, it's rigged. The judges, it's rigged. The jurors, it's rigged. It's all political prosecution. Would you say the same thing about Hunter Biden, Patrick?
The Uniparty has been exposed. As far as Hunter Biden goes, yeah, the 51 intelligence agencies that came out and said it was...
So that's not political prosecution.
That was...
So when Hunter Biden was found guilty, was that political prosecution? Hunter, I'm asking you a question. I need you to focus. We're just talking about Hunter Biden now, a subject that I'm sure you talk about all the time. When Hunter Biden was convicted on felonies, would you say that was political prosecution as well? Yes or no?
You think his dad's going to pardon him?
Okay, I didn't ask you about a pardon. I'm asking you to answer the question. I need you to focus because I'm going to ask it again. By the way, Joe Biden just said he's not going to pardon him. When Hunter Biden was convicted of felonies recently, would you call that political prosecution as well? Because anything that Donald Trump has held to account, you seem to call that political prosecution. I need you to focus. When it goes the other direction, would you say Hunter Biden's case, found guilty, is also political prosecution? Yes or no?
compared to the crimes that he actually committed. He committed a lot more crimes than just
Is
throwing
it
away
political
a
prosecution? Yes or no? I'm not interested in litigating the case with you. Just answer the question. When it comes to Donald Trump, you
They
said
should
it's
have prosecuted him for his real crimes, and they should have done it back in
so it's not political.
2019,
So it's not political prosecution. So when it comes to Donald Trump, who's a 34-count felon, proven in a court of law with a jury of his peers, it's political prosecution. When it comes to Hunter Biden, they should have gotten him for even stronger crimes. Patrick, how can I have a conversation with you when you're so biased one way or the other? Guess what? I respect the jury's decision in the Hunter Biden case, just as I respect the jury's decision in the case that involved 34 felony counts. And I'm able to say that with a straight face. Doesn't mean we always have to agree with every outcome. But the bottom line is you care about somebody's record. This conversation started where you were talking about somebody's record. I think you were talking about the Cheneys. But yet,
Liz.
yeah, right, exactly, Liz. But yet when it comes to a police record and a 34-count felon proven in a court of law, not only do you not want to bring that up, but you're actually going to vote for that guy. You have no problem with a 34-count felon being the leader of the free world. Explain that to me.
I'm voting for the outlaw, and I'm proud to do so because our system is totally corrupt, and they're exposing themselves by going after Trump and protecting Joe Biden over the last many of years.
Okay, let me be very clear on that. I know you've said over and over again. I know you've said over and over again that you're voting for an outlaw. Okay, an outlaw isn't necessarily somebody that sexually abuses women. Let me ask you a question about that outlaw statement that you mentioned, Patrick. Let's forget about the 34 felonies for a moment, okay? Would you define someone as an outlaw who sexually abuses a woman in a dressing room? Would you consider somebody an outlaw who has 25 women that have accused him of sexual assault or rape, including his ex-wife in a deposition? Would you consider somebody an outlaw who lies about the 2020 election and is the main reason why January 6th happened, where people died that day and the days and months after? Patrick, is that your definition of an outlaw, someone who sexually abuses women?
Nobody believes E. Jean Carroll. She doesn't know what
Actually, a jury believed E. Jean Carroll. A jury of Donald Trump's peers, not a bunch of MAGA buffoons that were on the jury like you. A jury of Donald Trump's peers believed that Donald Trump was liable for sexually abusing E. Jean Carroll in a dressing room in a court of law, and the judge called it rape. So when you say people don't believe it, what you really mean is MAGA dopes who drink the Kool-Aid, who wear the Donald Trump knee pads 24/7, who buy his Bibles and think he's Cheeto Jesus. Don't believe it, Patrick. Are you one of those people, Patrick? Are you
again? E. Jean Carroll doesn't know what year it took place, and she doesn't.
E. Jean Carroll doesn't know what year it took place. So there were dozens of women that were raped by Bill Cosby. Many of those women don't even remember the day, the time, or even the month or the year. Just because you don't remember exactly when it happened doesn't mean it didn't happen. And guess what? Your opinion is irrelevant because a jury already made the decision in a court of law. So you only believe in our courts when it's a Democrat that is prosecuted. But when it's a Republican that's prosecuted, in this case, your Cheeto Jesus leader, it's all rigged, right? The elections are rigged. The courts are rigged. The judges are rigged. The juries are rigged. Ratings are rigged. Everything is rigged if it doesn't go your orange man's way. But if it's a liberal or a Democrat that is prosecuted, you won't hear anybody in office, any prominent Democrats say it was rigged. Why is it only people like you on the right that say it's rigged? Can you please explain that to me?
Carol doesn't even know if she was penetrated by fingers.
There you go. There you go. Well, the reason why she doesn't know what it was is because Donald Trump's genitalia is so small. Maybe that's why, my friend. Have a nice day. I'm sure when you're with your wife, I'm sure she doesn't know what you're doing down there either. Have a nice day, Patrick. You want to go after somebody? Go ahead. You want to go after somebody that was sexually abused? You go ahead and do that. Well, she doesn't know whether it was her fingers or something else. Well, that's probably Donald Trump's fault, isn't it? But that's par for the course for you MAGA morons out there. You want to attack a woman who was sexually abused. Keep in mind, at the beginning of that conversation, Patrick said he cared about somebody's record. But when it comes to Donald Trump, he doesn't care about sexual abuse. He doesn't care about 34 felony counts. He doesn't care about the deficit, $8.2 trillion, by the way. He doesn't care about what took place on January 6th, and he doesn't care about our democracy. But if we're talking about other things, all of a sudden he cares about somebody's record, in this case, Liz Cheney. because she happened to support Kamala Harris yesterday. But Liz Cheney's not a convicted felon. Liz Cheney is not an attack on our democracy. And Liz Cheney hasn't been accused of sexual assault by anybody. Thank you for the call, Patrick. Always enjoyable to destroy you as usual. I think you'll probably get nightmares over the weekend on whether Donald Trump is penetrating you with his fingers or something else. 7283 is the number to call.